No, sometimes the greatest proof of your value isn't seen in your presence, but in your absence. Have you ever poured your heart into someone, given them your time, your love, your energy, only to feel like they couldn't see you? Like the more available you were, the more invisible you became. It's painful, isn't it, to be there for someone who doesn't even realize what they're holding. Well, here's something you need to understand. Men don't always recognize gold when it's lying in their hands. Sometimes they only realize it when it's gone. Not because they're cruel, not because they don't care, but because absence has a way of creating clarity that presence never could. Sometimes your silence will speak louder than your words ever did. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is to pull back, not out of bitterness, not out of manipulation, but out of self-respect. Because you are not here to convince anyone of your worth. You are here to be it, to stand in it. And the right one, he will feel your absence like oxygen missing from his lungs. Don't chase, don't beg, don't try to prove you're the one. Because if you truly are the one, he'll know when you're gone. And when that realization hits, it won't be soft, it'll be loud. It'll echo in his routine, in the quiet moments, in the places where your presence used to fill the air. That's when the shift happens. That's when he starts to see not what you did, but who you were. Have you ever noticed how people sometimes take the most valuable things in life for granted? Like the sun that rises every morning. We stop noticing its light because it's always there. It's human nature. We grow accustomed to what we believe will never leave us. And that's exactly why your constant presence, your unwavering loyalty, your consistent availability can sometimes become the very reason you're overlooked. It's not that you're not important. It's not that you're not enough. It's that you've been too available to be seen clearly. When you are always there, always answering the calls, always showing up, something dangerous can happen. You become predictable, familiar, and unfortunately, familiarity often breeds blindness. He stops seeing the little things, the effort, the thoughtfulness, the patience. He stops feeling the weight of your presence because he's never felt the void of your absence. And until he does, he may never truly realize what you meant to him. But when you step back, not to punish, not to play games, but because you recognize your worth, something shifts. That silence, it speaks. That empty space, it echoes. Suddenly, the things he never noticed become painfully obvious. The way you listened when no one else did. The way you encouraged him when he doubted himself. The peace you brought to his chaos. It all rushes in, not while you're near, but when you're gone. You see, absence doesn't create value, it reveals it. It peels back the layers of assumption and exposes what was always there, but was never fully seen. It gives him a mirror he can't ignore. And in that mirror, he sees the void, the imbalance, the missing piece. That piece was you. You don't need to raise your voice. You don't need to fight for recognition. Sometimes the loudest message you'll ever send is your quiet disappearance. And when a man finds himself sitting in the silence you left behind, trying to fill the space with anything that resembles you, that's when he'll begin to understand. People think value is proven in how loud you love, how long you stay, how much you give. But real value, it's often understood in reflection, in absence. When the noise fades and he's left with only the echo of what used to be. That's when he finally realizes you weren't just an option, you were the standard. It's a difficult truth to swallow, especially when you gave so much from a genuine place. But your heart isn't meant to be overlooked. It's meant to be recognized, respected, and deeply felt. And the man who's meant to walk beside you, he will only come to that realization when the convenience of your constant presence is gone. Because when something precious disappears, we suddenly see how priceless it was. And then something happens. The very moment you step back, not out of anger, but out of quiet clarity, the fog begins to lift. Suddenly, the things he couldn't or wouldn't see when you were near become unmistakably clear. That space you created, the silence you allowed, it starts doing the work you could never do with words. Because sometimes a man doesn't see you when you're standing right in front of him, but he feels you when you're gone. Clarity isn't always born in conversation. It's born in emptiness, in the stillness left behind after someone meaningful walks away. That's when the mind slows down enough to catch up with the heart. That's when he starts to replay the moments he missed, moments he didn't think mattered, the texts you sent to check on him, the way you remembered things no one else did, the way you loved him even on the days he didn't deserve it. He starts to wonder, where did that presence go? Not just your physical presence, but your emotional weight. That steady calm you brought into every room, that softness that made him feel safe, that energy that made his world feel a little less cold. But here's the truth. He couldn't see you while you were filling all the space. He couldn't notice what was always there because you became part of the background, woven into his everyday. And the problem with being someone's constant is that they start mistaking you for permanent. They stop appreciating the rare because they start assuming it'll never leave. But when you do leave, when you reclaim your time, your heart, your energy, that's when the recognition begins. That's when the picture sharpens. Not because you became someone new, but because your absence removed the noise. And in that silence, your worth starts to echo in places he never thought to look. He begins to feel it in the spaces where you used to speak life into him, in the quiet dinners where your laughter no longer fills the room, in the routine good mornings that now feel strangely incomplete. Your absence becomes a mirror, reflecting everything you were, everything he missed, and everything he didn't cherish when he had the chance. The shift is slow, but it's real and it's deep. Not the kind of realization that fades with distraction, but the kind that lingers day after day. That kind of clarity doesn't come from arguments or explanations. It comes from emptiness. And from that emptiness, truth begins to rise. He starts to feel the imbalance, the way everything feels just a little bit off, the way he has to try harder to feel whole. And he'll try to fill that space with other things, maybe even other people, but nothing fits the shape of you. Nothing feels the same, because the absence of someone real can't be faked or replaced. He sees it now, the difference between being liked and being valued, between company and connection, between affection and depth. And that vision, it only came because you had the strength to leave the room. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is walk away, just far enough for someone to finally see you. And here's the part most people never tell you. You don't have to perform to be chosen. You don't have to prove your worth to someone who can't already see it. Your value doesn't increase because you stayed longer. gave more, or tolerated what you should have walked away from. In fact, sometimes the more you try to prove you're the one, the more you lose the very thing that makes you the one, your self-respect. There's this quiet power in knowing you're enough, even if someone else hasn't realized it yet. And that power isn't loud. It doesn't beg. It doesn't plead. It just is. Because real worth doesn't scream for attention. It stands in silence and waits to be recognized. When you posture yourself from a place of self-awareness instead of desperation, everything changes. The energy shifts. You stop chasing clarity from someone who only offers confusion. You stop shrinking just to fit into the version of love they can handle. You stop handing out explanations to someone who never deserved a front row seat in the first place. Because let's be honest, if someone needs convincing to see your worth, they're not ready for you. The moment you start performing, adjusting your boundaries, softening your standards, walking on emotional eggshells just to keep someone around, you're not in love, you're in a role. And roles can be replaced. But your truth, that's irreplaceable. You were never meant to audition for love. The right one doesn't need a script. They don't need a reminder. They just see it, feel it, respect it. But to attract that kind of recognition, you have to first become that kind of person for yourself. Someone who no longer trades pieces of their soul just to feel accepted. Someone who's okay with being misunderstood because they understand themselves. Someone who can walk away, not with bitterness, but with boldness, knowing they never had to lower their crown to be noticed. It's easy to think that if you just stay a little longer, give a little more, love a little harder, that maybe they'll wake up and finally choose you. But here's the truth. They might not see it while you're still trying. Sometimes the act of trying becomes a distraction. It puts the focus on your effort instead of your essence. And essence doesn't need effort. It just needs to be seen, not just in him, but in you. And then comes the silence. That moment after you stop trying, after you stop explaining, after you stop showing up in all the ways you used to, the noise disappears, not just for him, but for you. And in that stillness, everything becomes louder. The silence starts speaking, not in words, but in realization. Because sometimes space isn't about distance, it's about perspective. And nothing brings truth into focus like the sound of nothing at all. When you create space, you're not walking away, you're stepping back so the truth can walk in. And the truth has a way of whispering what the noise kept drowning out. In the silence, he starts to hear the conversations he overlooked. He replays the way you used to say his name, how your tone shifted when you were hurt, but stayed calm just to keep the peace. He remembers the texts you sent when he was quiet for days, the way you carried both your weight and his without complaint. The moments he dismissed now replay on loop in the background of his days. That space begins to stretch. And the wider it gets, the more he notices how much you actually held. Not just emotionally, but spiritually, mentally, in ways he never gave words to. He feels it in the moments when he wants to share something, but your name's no longer the first he thinks to call. He reaches for you, not physically, but emotionally, and you're not there. That absence becomes undeniable, and in that undeniable silence, clarity roars. You see, when you're always present, people forget what it feels like to miss you. They get used to the sound of your voice, the rhythm of your check-ins, the comfort of your consistency. But space removes that comfort. It interrupts the autopilot. It creates discomfort. And discomfort is where recognition is born. He won't say it at first. He may even distract himself. He may try to fill that silence with noise, conversations, work, other people. But what's real doesn't fade with distraction. It waits. And eventually, when the noise dies down and he's left with only his thought, he'll hear you again, not because you called, but because silence became the amplifier. Sometimes, the best way to be seen is to disappear. Not out of spite, but out of strength. To create a space so quiet, so still, that the absence speaks louder than your presence ever could. That's when the truth starts to whisper to him in the quiet hours of the night when everything else falls away. And here's the part that stings. It's possible he'll realize it when it's too late. That's not on you. That's a cost of blindness. Some people have to lose what's rare before they learn how to value it. And when he sits in that silence long enough, he'll begin to understand that the thing he ignored was the very thing he needed. That's the power of space. It doesn't just create distance, it creates depth. And when that realization finally hits him, it won't be soft. It won't come wrapped in clarity and peace. It'll crash in like a wave he never saw coming. He'll feel your absence like oxygen missing from his lungs. Not just a quiet ache, but a full body emptiness. Because when something real is gone, the body knows it before the mind admits it. That's when everything around him starts to feel heavier, colder, quieter, and no matter what he reaches for, nothing fills that space. It'll be the big things that remind him of you. It'll be the little ones. The way his day used to start with your voice. The way your energy softened his rough edges without you even trying. The way just knowing you were in his corner gave him the confidence to face things he didn't talk about. It'll sneak up on him in moments he never expected. A song, a scent, an inside joke. And suddenly, you're everywhere. Because now, you're nowhere. That's the kind of absence that changes people. It lingers, it haunts. It teaches, it becomes the mirror that no distraction can shatter. He may try to explain it away, minimize it, bury it under casual conversations and temporary connections, but nothing will feel like you. Nothing will settle him the way you did, because when you were there, he didn't realize how much you grounded him. And now, in your absence, he realizes he's floating, lost, without anchor. That's what happens when someone who brought you peace leaves. The chaos inside becomes louder, and he won't be able to escape it. Because now he understands what he couldn't see before. You weren't just someone he loved, you were part of his balance, his center, his calm in the noise. He'll walk into rooms that once felt full and now feel hollow. He'll scroll through his phone and stop at your name, hovering, thinking, regretting. He'll wonder why he didn't notice sooner, why he didn't listen when your silence started to speak. And the hardest part, there may be nothing left for him to return to. Because when someone finally sees your worth in your absence, it doesn't always mean they get another chance to hold it, but he'll feel it deeply, honestly, repeatedly. And whether he ever says it out loud or not, he'll carry that recognition like a shadow. That you were the one, not because of what you did, but because of who you were, how you loved, how you stayed, and how you finally walked away with grace instead of noise. Some absences are temporary, but the kind you leave behind when your presence was real, that kind stays with a person. It lingers in their routines, in their memory, in their soul. He'll feel it not once, but over and over again, every time he breathes and realizes the air doesn't feel the same without you. So now you know your worth doesn't need convincing, your love doesn't need explanation, and your presence is not a favor to be overlooked. It's a gift to be honored. You were never meant to chase clarity in confusion or beg for space in someone's life. You were meant to be seen, felt, and remembered. Whether you're standing beside them or walking away, let your silence speak where your voice once cried. Let your distance deliver the message your words could never make clear. And most of all, let your self-respect become the loudest statement of all. You don't need to be louder, softer, or more patient. You just need to be true to you, because the right person won't need your absence to realize you're the one. They'll recognize it in your presence. So hold your head high, protect your peace, walk in your power, because the moment you stopped trying to prove yourself was the moment you became unforgettable. Good luck on your journey. Thank you for showing up for yourself today. Now go forward and never shrink to be seen again.